Now, within the last hour, it's emerged that 4 government files have been discovered, number of prominent public figures from the 1970s and 80s in connection with child abuse investigations. The former Home Secretary, Leon Britton, who died earlier this year, is one of those named. Our Home Affairs correspondent, Simon Israel, is with me. Simon, so what do these files say?
Well, these files have just suddenly arisen. You may have remembered there was a review by Derek Wanless and Richard Whittam QC last year when the allegations were there was a large cover-up. They tried to find all the files, and they didn't. And what's turned up are 2 sets of files, one at the Home Office and one at the Cabinet Office. And it's the files at the Cabinet Office in a miscellaneous box, so to speak, that appear to be the most interesting. They name the following 4 people. Sir Leon Britton, the Home Secretary, as you mentioned before. Sir Peter Hayman, the senior diplomat and senior officer in MI6, we understand, who was convicted of gross indecency back in the 80s. Sir William Van Strabenzie.
No, Van Strabenzie.
Van Strabenzie, yep, my apologies. Yep. A Tory MP. And one other, Peter Morrison, who was the parliamentary private secretary to Margaret Thatcher. Now, these documents aren't on their own damning in any way. They include stuff that we've already heard about. Leon Britton is mentioned in a letter from the Labour backbencher at that time, Harry Cohen. And they've also discovered letters from Colin Wallace, who you may remember we featured in our investigations into what was going on at Kincora Boys' Home and who knew about it at that time and why that isn't included in the Goddard inquiry, forthcoming Goddard inquiry.
Of course, what is interesting is who has conducted these inquiries.
Yes,
indeed. The civil servants involved.
Yes, indeed. And the most revealing of what's been published today is the quote in the conclusion by Mr. Wanless and Richard Whittam QC, who carried out the original review. And I shall read it because they say, to give one striking example in response to claims from 2 sources that a named member of Parliament has a penchant for small boys, matters conclude with the acceptance of his word that he does not, and the observation that at the present stage, the risks of political embarrassment to the government is rather greater than the security danger. The risk to children was not considered at all. That says everything about what was going on.
And just very briefly, where's this going to take us?
Well, I think the Goddard, this is more pressure on greater transparency and more documents to emerge, which will be sent to the Goddard inquiry, and it'll be for them to pursue all these matters.
Simon Israel.